Hey guys, how you doing? I hope you're well. I have a slightly croaky voice, but hopefully it's not going to be too annoying for today's video. So today I'm actually attempting 3 simple DIY beauty recipes from Akala's new ebook, which you can download for free from their website. I'll link it in the info box below in case you want to go check it out. But basically they've just launched their DIY beauty section selling raw ingredients for those who love getting creative with their personal care products. Now, as you guys know, I'm not the best when it comes to making beauty products. I'm looking at you, DIY mascara. And personally, I always say a zero waste lifestyle doesn't mean you have to make everything from scratch. But I know a lot of people really enjoy making their own personal care products, and I thought, what the heck, let's give these recipes a go and see what happens. So from Akala, I ordered some Shea butter, some jojoba oil, apricot kernel oil, castor oil and bentonite clay, and they all came packaged in either glass containers or wrapped in a piece of paper. And I know that in the next few months Akala are actually going to start offering refills too, which is really exciting. Okay, so on to the first DIY beauty attempt. This is the 2-minute face mask. Let's do this. So for this recipe I just needed 2 tablespoons of bentonite clay and some water. So bentonite clay is a brilliant detoxifier which draws out impurities, and I simply added the 2 tablespoons of bentonite clay to a glass jar. I've actually since learned I should avoid using metal spoons with bentonite clay as it can deactivate it, so note to future self, use a wooden spoon or a wooden chopstick or something similar instead. And then I just gradually added the water 1 spoonful at a time and mixed it until it formed a sort of paste consistency. And then to use it, I just applied it to my face and then left it to dry for about 15 minutes until you look something like this. I know, what a catch. Then to remove it, all I did was use a warm, damp, reusable face cloth. I really like these muslin cloths, and just worked it off my face. Et voila, my skin felt super soft. The recipe actually recommends to follow up with your favourite moisturiser, which leads me nicely on to my next product, the Everyday Face Oil. Okay, for this recipe I needed 20 ml of castor oil, 10 ml of carrier oil. I chose jojoba, but you could use almond or olive oil, and 6 drops of your favourite essential oil. So I actually had some lavender essential oil left over, which I bought from bulk a while ago, and I just keep it in this repurposed dropper jar. I think it used to contain oil of oregano, but it now has lavender essential oil in it. I also don't have a way of measuring small quantities of liquids, so instead I dug out a glass vessel I had saved, which was 8 millilitres. So I just figured the ratios would be roughly the same if I measured the oils out with this. You know, just improvising as I go. So first up, I actually sterilised my 30 ml glass bottle that I'm actually going to use to store the face oil in. I think it used to contain some other face oil back in the day, but I saved it and I'm going to reuse it for this recipe. And to sterilise it, I just placed it in a pan of cold water and then gradually brought it to the boil and then let it bubble for about 10 minutes. And then I just poured the jojoba oil in using the 8 ml measure, followed by 2 measures of castor oil. The castor oil is quite a thick oil, so I did that second. And then I added around 6 drops of the lavender essential oil, which is actually totally optional. You don't have to add any essential oil. It's non-essential. I also like to add a little label just so I don't forget what's in the bottle. So this is just a bit of brown paper tape, and I've used a marker pen to write on it. I know, high tech guys, really high tech. Then to use it, all I had to do was pour 4 or 5 drops into the palm of my hand and then apply it to my clean face, and I'm trying to massage it in circular motions as we're always told to do. But yeah, that's my best attempt. This felt really nice actually. I think the thickness of the castor oil gives it a really nice consistency, and yeah, I've really enjoyed using it. And finally, I think I've saved the best recipe until last. This is a whipped body butter. Okay, so for this recipe, I needed 60 mils of shea butter, and I actually found that my quarter cup measure was exactly 60 milliliters, which is great. And I also needed 30 mils of apricot kernel oil. This recipe also calls for 15 drops of an essential oil, but I was actually keen to try it without an essential oil, aka I may have forgotten to add the essential oil. So, you know, it's optional. All I had to do was chop the shea butter into chunks and then whisk until creamy, which sounds simple enough, but somehow I managed to ignore that and just shoved both ingredients into the blender. And as I don't actually own an electric hand whisk, I just started pulsing with the blender, which kind of worked, but I had to stop and start a lot because I was using a spatula to kind of scoop down the mixture from the sides and kind of work it towards the blades. So it was a bit of a process. I then decided to pour the mixture into a jar and then just try using a little hand whisk I have and a bit of elbow grease to try and whip it into a body butter consistency, because the blender hadn't quite done that. It mixed it, but it hadn't kind of whipped it. And I was actually pretty happy with the end results. I mean, it took a little while to whisk by hand, and if you have an electric hand whisk, I would seriously use it, but if you don't, I kind of managed to do it manually. Kinda. This is actually really lovely and indulgent to use. I stored mine in an airtight glass jar, and I just like to use it after I've had a shower, and it kind of melts into my skin really nicely. So there you have it, a face mask, a face oil, and a body butter. Not too shabby for someone who doesn't do DIY beauty, if I do say so myself. If you're feeling inspired and you want to try out these recipes or any of the other ones from the Akala ebook, then just follow the link in the info box below and enjoy getting a little creative / messy. Bye guys.